loosen them up. That's my advice. Are we recording, Cam? Are we? All right, good, very good. Hi, guys, this is Doug, and you are listening to What's the Hazard? Hey, man, it is Friday, May 20th here in Omaha, Nebraska. Nice, cool, overcast morning. We've been having some relatively warm weather, actually some beautiful weather. And today's a little overcast, supposed to be cold this weekend, or I guess relatively speaking, 50 degrees or something like that.
May. Yeah.
I'm sitting here with my buddy Tyler Kirkegaard from Ellerbrock-Norris. Thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Yeah, it's good. It's good. Your first podcast, I understand.
First podcast ever.
Good for you.
Yep.
Do you listen to podcasts?
I do. I listen to What's the Hazard. I see those.
You've listened to What's the Hazard?
Especially when you and Aaron get going. Those conversations
those
are
are good.
just good for me to be.
Yeah, man. And what would you listen to otherwise? What other kind of stuff?
You know, there's a lot of.
Are you a Joe Rogan guy? Or?
I listen to some of his stuff. The Barstool guys.
Oh yeah,
they're entertaining, and
they
mix in some sports stuff, so it keeps me up to date on if I didn't get a chance to watch a game. Or
I'd almost rather hear it that way and watch some jaded sports channel or something. I can almost not watch sports networks and things anymore. They kind of bother me.
Yeah, and anymore. I've started to they've been hiring on people that have actually, played, like having Shaq and Chuck talk through NBA.
Mm-hmm.
It's like those guys lived it, so it's easier to hear them talk about it.
I agree with that. Yeah,
their experience. So,
well, before we get started, I want to congratulations. You're expecting your second child next week.
Yep. Tuesday is the day we'll go in, regardless if my wife doesn't go naturally before then.
Very exciting, man. And without getting too, will she be in the CHI system, in the Methodist
We're
system?
Methodist, out at Women's Hospital.
Okay.
That's where we had our first one. That's our doctor.
It's a great place.
He practices through there. So, yes.
I know my wife is in the postpartum NICU at Lakeside.
Okay. Yep.
And used to work at Methodist, both outstanding facilities.
Yeah.
And so very exciting,
really
man.
Good friends that are nurses there at Lakeside.
Oh,
and they
nice.
love it.
Yeah.
So.
Nice. Terrific. I do want to mention, some weeks great, some weeks suck. And I have had a kind of a crappy week, man. And now I'm a glasses half full guy, and I know the glass is going to fill itself back up. But this week in particular, I was involved with two fairly serious injuries. That is always really depressing and discouraging. One of them was a client of mine, and another was a friend of mine who's a client who had a relative that was injured in a work-related incident. And man, you just get that big knot in your stomach. You're like, when you hear that news, when I get a text message saying, please call me ASAP or something like that, man, I get a knot in my stomach. And as we're going through these investigations and discussing these incidents and things, it really sets you back, and I know that's true for other safety people. I actually had a couple of safety guys call me this week and really just vent. They were depressed, they were discouraged, and they just kind of vent to me once in a while. They know I guess I'm safe to vent to or whatever. And so, man, the week was going fairly poorly. And then, then there's always a few good outcomes, and you feel like, okay, maybe what we're doing has value. And so I would just say, if you had a good week, that's great. And if you had a bad week, don't give up, don't quit, don't get discouraged, keep pushing forward. What we're doing is very important and oftentimes difficult. So I don't know. How was your week? I don't mean to totally depressed now.
No, I mean, my week's been fine. It's been a
good week
in the office, meeting with, we're doing a lot of cool things. I know we'll get into the network.
Good. So yeah. We're going to talk
about
working
through some implementation things.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's funny. And honestly, I didn't even think about it until right now, as you're talking, a guy in your shoes and even thinking through other safety directors, a lot of times their days are filled up with
they have some
all the wrong things.
Man. Yeah, it can be.
When you get phone calls, and a lot of times it's when people are needing you, not.
Yes.
So it's kind of tough, and it makes me appreciate, you and like other people that are out in the industry. It's like, man, they're dealing with a lot.
We often don't have a lot of affirmative moments.
Exactly.
They're usually negative. I mean, if we're the focal point, it's typically because something bad has happened or something like that. I was down at a client earlier this week, and I do some training regularly for one of my clients. It's kind of a monthly thing. And we were talking, and I was sharing some interesting things that had happened while I was with OSHA, and sometimes those are really horrific. And they were like, man, how do you do it? How do you deal with all that trauma and negativity and catastrophe and stuff? And, it does wear on you after a while. You really have to develop a way to insulate yourself from it personally to some degree, because it can be overwhelming, man, and so I guess the take home message here is, if you had a good week, fantastic, enjoy it. And if you had a bad week, just get back in the saddle and just keep pushing forward, because what's the alternative? You can't just wallow in that negativity. You got to keep pushing forward. And I guess the last thing I want to talk about before we get started is, I just want to recognize that our buddy Cam, the producer of the show, who is also evolving into a safety guy, no fault of his own, but he has been selected to be part of the safety committee here at Hurrdat. And, so man, he's really taken it to heart. They've been doing, good for you, brother. We need as many disciples as we can get, more eyes on the subject is better. So they're doing their emergency evacuation drills, taking some first aid CPR. Very soon, he is going to be qualified for one of those 6-figure safety jobs out there. So we'll keep you posted.
They're all over.
Yeah. So let's get to the point of the topic. We are part of a collaboration. I've been working with Andy and Elliot over at Ellerbrock-Norris for a number of years, somewhat in a loose collaboration, but about almost 2 years ago, we formed this network, a collaborative network called the Encore Safety Network, part of Ellerbrock-Norris, and it has grown to a really fantastic level, and we continue to grow it and expand it. And now you are intimately involved with that network. So talk about Encore Safety Network a little bit.
Yeah. So I'm gonna start back before I started with Ellerbrock.
Okay, good.
So I started with Ellerbrock. It'll be coming up on 3 years now. And
I remember when you came in for your first day, man. I was sitting in the office.
That's right. You were sitting there.
I remember.
So I came from the mining industry. I did sales of conveyor belting systems, things along those lines. A lot of just really the mining industry. Whenever they need something, I was kind of my job to go, and I was a delivery boy a little bit, but I had to go and get my MSHA certified. So I was kind of in the understanding it. And you get into some of those mines, safety really is first. I mean, they take all the precautions.
They're pretty strict.
Yeah.
MSHA's pretty strict.
Yep. So I kind of had a little bit of a background on going through some of those programs and trainings at the different places that I was at. So I kind of had that background a little bit. And then I start with Ellerbrock, and, being in risk management, safety plays a huge piece of that, especially for, the blue collar industries, where they're out in the field and they got guys running every direction. And especially now with people shorthanded and jobs piling up because everybody needs something. But
I know,
so then when we kind of rolled out the safety network, it was just kind of a natural draw to that. So I've really spent a lot of time, invested into, proactively reaching out to people, talking to them about the network, being engaged with our current members, learning from you and from Aaron and Andy and Elliot and all the guys over Ellerbrock. And so it's been fun. It's a fun.
Tell everybody just a little bit what the network is. I mean,
Yeah. So it's really set up, and the foundation of it is that it's a place for like-minded safety professionals to really brainstorm with each other, right?
Exactly.
Get together, collaborate, talk through, what's working out there in the real world. There's tons and tons of safety resources out there, but a lot of them are tough to, bring back into your own program and how they would line up specifically. So just getting the like-minded people together. I mean, we see value in every time that we meet, and people talking through different things that they're doing, what's working, what's not. And really just utilizing it as, building that culture of working safely. I know you say it all the time. It's more than having that safety program. It's really developing that culture of working safely.
That's exactly right, man. And I truly have always been a believer in collaboration. When I was with OSHA, that was one of the things that I did as the compliance assistance person, was basically serve as a conduit for the employers to have access to OSHA without any threats or any fear necessarily. And I've seen how useful collaboration can be. No one knows everything about this stuff. No one can try everything. And so the opportunity to sit with like-minded people who are working toward the same goal and share experiences, positive and negative, I think is incredibly useful. And I think this was actually maybe even Elliot's brainchild at some point. I think Elliot Bassett, one of the executives over at Ellerbrock-Norris, approached me about it one time and just said, what would you think about this? And I said, man, I love that idea. So describe a little bit about, who's eligible to be in the network. You don't necessarily have to be insured by Ellerbrock-Norris necessarily. I mean, this is open to anyone who wants to participate.
Without a doubt. Yeah, it's really, I mean, we'd let it go as far as it'll take itself, I guess. There's, as long as we can still keep that collaboration and really bringing in the right like-minded people. We're not coming in and going to redo your entire safety program. We're really just help there to add value. We've got tons of resources, whether it's technology or, access to you and Aaron and our team, to help build out strategies and whatnot. But, we really have a fit for whatever you're looking for. If it's just the collaboration piece, we're not going to charge you for all of the different things like that. It is membership based.
Right.
Because we go out, what we'll do is we'll go out and purchase different technologies, access to different resources for the network itself, and then give them access to that. So
members can have, I know there is a learning management system component.
Yep.
Which would be primarily training-based information that they can utilize. And there is, not as a technology guy myself, but I know there is access to a portal that provides you things like templates, forms, all of those kind of things as well. If you don't, have the ability to create those yourself, so a lot of technical resources, and then a lot of just interactive resources. Like you mentioned, our buddy Aaron Cerrone, who was our leadership expert, and who has really developed amazingly. I've known Aaron for about 4 years now or so, 4 or 5 years. Really intelligent guy, really knowledgeable about leadership and about teams and about lean manufacturing. He's a lean black belt as well as like a Muay Thai black belt. I mean, he's got a lot of black belts, but interesting. And he has really taken to this working safely concept because it's so intimately integrated, these things, I mean, quality, production, working safely, they're all so intertwined that it has really been a natural evolution for him. He started off just talking about leadership, but the more he's been around the safety side of it, the better he has become at that stuff as well. Really interesting.
Yeah. And it's been fun to see him work with the network members. And as they bring up questions, whether it's in our live events or a webinar that we're having, and seeing him, actually put it into terms for them in their specific situation and give them ideas on what they can take back and to help build into their program, especially around that leadership piece. Talking with a member last week was, this is just something that we as safety directors don't really get access to. We can get access to all of the, specific safety stuff, whether it's fall protection or in machine guarding, whatever that may be. But as far as safety resources, leadership resources out there, there's really not a ton. So it is helping build and bridge that gap for safety directors to really become the leader as they are within their companies.
Absolutely. And I'm a big fan of Simon Sinek. I watch a little bit of Simon Sinek podcasting or YouTube videos or something, interesting concepts, but he's typically, addressing an audience of academics or, office people. And to be able to take some of those concepts back into an industrial or construction environment is a little bit different. And I think Aaron bridges that gap
absolutely
much more so than a person like Mr. Sinek, for example, so I agree with that. And you mentioned a couple other things. We do live events, face-to-face events. We do webinars. We do Q&A opportunities where members can just sit in on Q&A and just ask questions, and we can discuss different, whether it be my piece of this is more the regulatory side, and Aaron's piece of it would be the leadership side. Andy and Elliot provide the work comp and risk control side. It's really a nice collaboration. And we've got a few members that are really actively involved and share a lot of incredibly useful information. And I think some of the people who are a little bit more reluctant to share are starting to feel more comfortable. There's very little, you're a dumbass type of criticism when you ask a question, I mean, everybody is really there to gain and benefit from each other's experiences, which I love.
Yeah, which has been cool to see. And again, with that being the foundation of what the network and really why we wanted to build it out, it's been cool to see that develop and the relationships start to build out within the members. And I want to say vulnerability, but more just the openness to share experiences or something that they're going through.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've got a message board that is open all the time where people can type in and ask questions, whether it's, you know, OSHA related or if it's just, hey, this just happened.
Mm-hmm.
You know, has anybody experienced this before? And having a group of people to kind of have your back is a huge resource.
It's a big deal. And thank you for notifying me when I get a question posted, because I'm not the best at constantly seeking out the questions, but once I know there's a question that's been posted, I'm more than happy to give my opinion on that. So if it happens to be a regulatory question or something like that, we try to address those. But even the better part is, hey, I'm looking for an idea around a certain concept. And when the other members share those things, I think that's the real power of the network.
100%.
What else we got going on? Tell me, because I need to know.
So we've got we just made a switch up on our LMS system. So I'm gonna give a little shout out to George and Trevor over at Zoop 2. It's cool to be working their local company.
Nice.
And I mean the access that you get and some of the courses that you get to utilize, and even just the program itself is what we see as head and shoulders above, you know, what we're doing. And that's just a piece of what you get within the network is that's kind of our role, is to be actively searching for not the next best thing, but something that's going to be a better fit,
more useful.
Yeah. And taking that away from leaving that on the safety directors and letting them get back into developing that culture and being engaged with the employees and the management side of things. And so that's a big thing that we do. You know, we're starting right now, we're in the works of planning out some cool, like happy hour events for members, doing some coffee or breakfast, just to get more of that networking.
I think
build the relationship.
The more face-to-face that we can do, the better. We unfortunately, like everyone else, had to kind of suffer through the Zoom things a little bit, and that's fine. I mean, you can share information that way, but you need to share electrons in order to develop a network, man, in order to have a true collaboration, in my opinion. So we do like semi-annual full-day face-to-face events, which have been fantastic. Really, I'm learning something. I don't know about the other members, but I learn something every time at those events. And we've been doing webinars. I know we've got a webinar coming up here soon.
Next week,
Oh, is it? I better get. I'm participating in that one. We're talking about incident investigations and things like that. So I'll have a piece of that. There'll be some question and answer and hopefully some sharing as well as part of that. I like the idea of some of these breakfast and maybe end of day networking opportunities. I love those. In fact, my wife and I are talking about doing an end of day networking opportunity this evening.
There we go.
You know, and so what we got more stuff going on, man. What else we got going on?
So we've got you're pretty involved in it, building out certification course.
Oh yeah.
So kind of just looked out there at some of the different certifications. It's nothing that you're going to have to get OSHA involved with, but really building in just a piece that, you know, hey, we're going to cover OSHA, we're going to cover leadership, we're going to talk through some different strategies when it comes to, you know, the return of investment, when it comes to your safety program, and get it to a place where, you know, safety directors, safety leaders, really anybody down to the employee level can
safety committee members, like our man Cam here. Exactly.
Just to get them thinking of just some different things that, you know, you're not going to get through your OSHA 10 or your OSHA 30.
Right.
Which obviously take those courses. You need to understand
those are important courses. But as you said earlier, I mean, those are technical courses. Those are surveys of regulations. So a 10-hour is a quick flyover of the regulations. A 30-hour, a little bit more in depth, but not a great deal of time is spent on safety leadership. And so, and I love the certification idea. We are creating essentially units, modules that will be accessible, and you can complete a certain number of units and receive a certification from the safety network. I think much like the intent of a 10-hour or 30-hour class, it would be something that you could push through your workforce so that everybody at least is on the same page when it comes to, you know, what safety leadership means, what your role in safety leadership is, you know, those types of things. I'm really encouraged by this. I like where we're going with this.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really, really cool. And, you know, we're picking the brains of our members and seeing, you know, what is something that you guys don't have access to right now? What can we help develop into the safety space that could really help add value to your safety program? Really just continue building in that culture. And I feel like I've said that
no, but
10
I mean,
times, but that's really what the network comes down to. So,
and it's not, it's interesting because when people say we would like help with our safety culture, that is a big concept. There are a lot of different directions that can go. It is somewhat nebulous, a little bit subjective. And so I think spending time on that and repeating that and, focusing on that, everything else kind of falls into place if the culture is where you want it to be.
Yep.
And so I like that aspect of what we're doing, truthfully.
Yeah, I think it's been fun to kind of watch it develop from that idea in somebody's head to really we're making partnerships to build out the technology on it. It's not something that's going to take you, 10, 15 hours to complete. You could have an employee or your safety director finish it over a weekend or through the couple hours here or there throughout the week. So it's going to be just quick hitting, touching on topics that are important that a lot of times we feel just get forgot about a little bit.
I would agree. We do tend to focus on the regulatory and the technical, and we lose a little bit of that piece from time to time. Anything else we got going on that you want to talk about? Or that's quite a bit, actually.
Yeah, we got a lot rolling. New partnerships with Smi Safety and their program Approve. So, Cole Jones has developed a good friendship with him. Shout out Cole. He's been an awesome resource just within the safety industry. That's really boots in the field. And other than that, we've just been really diving into that return of investment conversation within companies because, there's a couple different ways to look at it. Yes, you're wanting to keep your employees safe, but it's got to make sense for you, right? Company wise, if you're going to be spending money on something. So, you start talking, obviously there's the hard costs of your work comp insurance and paying memberships, dues, things like that. But we like to get focused more on the soft costs, right? Where you start thinking about, if an employee gets hurt, where's the inefficiency come on products getting pushed out the door, work getting done? You got to take somebody from another spot, move them into this spot.
Right. Retraining, morale, all of those things that are very difficult to quantify, but we know they're there. OSHA refers to that as safety pays. And we had a program for years that we would try to utilize to encourage managers to have a better understanding of the value of investing proactively in safety. Direct costs of injuries, indirect costs of injuries, and the savings that can accompany those improvements, much like that return on investment that Andy focuses on so heavily, which I've always been interested in and impressed by. Because we're, anytime you commit funds towards something, you want to have some idea what the return on that investment is going to be. And this is, as you remember, this is a membership organization. It's not a freebie. I think it's priced actually undersold to some degree, just because of what we have access to and the fact that, to your credit, the customer service is outstanding. We're always looking for ways to improve the delivery and the quality of what we're offering. And so thank you for doing that. I don't have the time necessarily to always be doing that. So I'm grateful to what you guys do at Ellerbrock-Norris to
it's a blast. That. And, people that are invested in building out their culture, improving on their safety program, they're fun people to be engaged with, right?
Absolutely.
They're not people that are going to blow you off. They're not somebody that's, if you ask them a question, they're going to be excited about the opportunity, or even just reaching out and saying, hey, let's go grab coffee. Let's grab a beer. I want to learn more about your company. Safety, that's what's really kind of drawn me to it, is just the type of people that are in safety. Nothing against the C-suite level people or anything like that, but
I get it.
Safety directors have just tended to be a little more responsive, especially for when you're talking about helping them improve that culture. And even business owners, when you start talking about it, it's like, oh, this is something different than what we've seen before. And you start to walk them through some of the different areas that we're helping current members, and they're like, oh,
that's cool.
This makes sense. So it's been fun. That's been my favorite piece.
And we are working with people who want to improve.
Exactly.
People who are not interested in improvement are not attracted to an opportunity like this. But people that want to improve, they want to see progress, this is an opportunity that typically attracts them. And those are the people that we enjoy working with.
Exactly.
I do too. I get energy and I get information and ideas, and I still steal shamelessly from other people's ideas. There's really nothing new. It's just the way that people have approached certain things and successes and failures based on different criteria and parameters. I find that fascinating. And so just like this, man, I just, I selfishly just sit here and learn every Friday. I learn something, it's helped me as a safety professional, just learning from people like you that are doing this every day.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
It's just expanding your network and expanding your mind and learning more about what other people are doing.
Right.
Rogan talks about that, is how much knowledge he gains from just the people that he does his podcast with. And,
absolutely.
So I don't know if we're quite on that level yet, but we're going to get there with What's the Hazard.
Eventually. That's right, man. Yeah. And and plus we don't want all of his audience,
Exactly.
Well,
is.
okay.
Yeah, no, it is. And you've got your listeners are the type of people that would be great for something, at least learn more about the network and love
and so that's a great point. So if they want to learn more about the network, how do they go about getting more information?
We've got some stuff up on our website, Ellerbrock-Norris.com. And you can we've got a whole page for just the safety network that'll talk through some of just an overview of really what the safety network entails. You reach out to me, whether it's
they can just contact you.
Oh yeah, what email? When you post this, I'll be sure to make sure
we'll put your email address in the notes from the episode so they can get in touch with you.
It's really just a conversation. If it's something that's a fit, great. If it's not, no problem. I mean, it's not like you said, we're not looking for everybody. It is a set group of people that are going to be in.
And we truly want people who are interested in participating, not just sitting back. We want people who are going to share, and it requires a certain willingness, as you said earlier, to be a little bit vulnerable, maybe to share successes and failures, which we all learn from. So
and it's not something that we're meeting every week. It's not something that you're really going to have to invest a ton of time into, but knowing that you have that group on your team is huge, and it's been fun to see the collaboration. I mean, it's a blast. It's fun.
It is cool. Yeah. And we've grown a lot in less than 2 years. I've been thrilled to be a part of it, man.
Yeah, it's been crazy.
It's been an interesting ride.
For a while there, I felt like I was meeting with different companies, probably like 10 different ones every week, which was good, being able to get out there and kind of spread the word. And
it is a nice diverse group of companies.
Yeah.
It's not all one type of industry.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of it, is that somebody in the construction space could truly learn something that people do in the manufacturing world, and vice versa.
Yeah.
That
particularly along these cultural lines, the cultural pieces transcend the industry group. It's really interesting.
Yeah. Which will be exciting to see, kind of the new wave of safety professionals kind of coming into place. That's one thing that I felt like I heard all the time is, well, hey, we're in the process of hiring a new safety director, or, go talk to Bob. He's been handling our safety program for 30 years. And so I feel like there's a wave of new safety professionals coming in.
It does seem that way.
And the new generation, my generation a little bit, is hungry for that collaboration. That's one area that I see tons of value in. And people always say it's taking the shorter path, but work smarter, not harder.
Absolutely. And I would agree. And we are probably 2 to 2.5 generations apart, I would assume. But I do think that your generation understands and appreciates technology, the utility of technology, and the importance of that network. Yeah. And that's really what this is about. So I encourage everyone to take a look, go to the Ellerbrock-Norris website, see if it might be something right for you. If it is, great. Give Tyler a call and talk to him about it. If it's not for you in the moment, that's okay. This is not a hard sell type deal. We truly just want this to be an opportunity for people that are at that point where they are looking for a networking opportunity, a collaborative opportunity, and who are willing maybe to, get dirty a little bit and get in there and work with us. So,
last thing I'd want to add in, I've recently joined a committee through NUCA, National Underground Construction Association. We're holding a stand down trench safety event June 3rd.
Fantastic.
Which is going to be pretty cool. We've got
just a Friday, is it not?
Yep.
I think it's a Friday.
Yeah. It'll be in the morning. I think it's 10 to noon, a couple hours. It's going to be a really cool event. Got a lot of companies already registered.
Nice.
But if it's not something if you're not part of NUCA, absolutely come. We want to expand that.
There are a lot of people that do trenching and excavation work that are not part of NUCA.
Yep. So it's going to be just an awesome event to get somebody that maybe is not around it every day, but in the situation where, we've got to be going down into a trench today. I want to make sure we're doing the right thing. So
I love that.
That'll be cool. It'll be a cool event.
Well, look at you getting involved in the
trying a little
you're branching out, man. That's awesome, man. That's fantastic. Tyler, I appreciate your time, man. And I love what we're doing together as a collaboration. It's fantastic. I look forward to what the future holds for that. It's very exciting to me. Hope you guys enjoyed that information. Give Tyler a call or check out the website if you have questions. Other than that, I hope you have a good weekend. Again, if you had a bad week, hang in there. It's going to get better. Just keep doing the right things. And good luck next week, man.
Thanks, Doug.
I look forward to hearing about. Yeah, that's exciting. Cam, thanks, buddy. Thanks for wearing the reflective vest, even inside the producer's room. I appreciate that. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you next week. Later.